everyone. This is a very special Remark episode, a bonus episode, if you will. I am your one host, Kristin Finger.
And I'm your other host, Kevin Reagan. And today we have Keith Powell. You may know him in front of the camera from such shows as 30 Rock, About a Boy.
This is us.
Behind the camera, you know him from such things as Superstore, In White Places, Keith Broke His Leg, and now this, A Holiday in Harlem. Welcome to the screen, Keith Powell.
Hi.
Keith, how are you, sir?
Hey!
Doing well. Hi, how are you guys?
Good. Thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, not a problem at all. Not a problem at all.
Is this a busy weekend you're going into? I have to assume like it's everybody calling you.
There are a lot of balls in the air for me. And my day is very, very tightly packed. And
Yes.
this weekend is very tightly packed. And it actually has nothing to do with the movie. It's other projects that I'm doing.
Good. That's great.
Yeah. We're renovating our house. So my entire family, which includes a 2.5-year-old and a 3-month-old,
golly.
are all staying in an Airbnb. And so we're living in a very small space, and it's just chaos. It's chaos all day.
Is it good chaos? I feel like that could be possibly good chaos.
Listen, I'm not complaining. These are high-class problems, but it's great.
It's still crazy though. It's still like when you're even if you're like out of your house for like a night, I'm still like, what's life? Because like I need that stability of like knowing I'm going home to my bed, but like, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that I'll be in an Airbnb for 6 months.
Yay!
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of crazy. And then also on top of all that, I have meetings for other projects that I'm putting together and things like that. And it's just, it's an odd time of year.
Yeah, sure. Well, we greatly appreciate this. Kevin and I are just thrilled to be able to speak to someone that worked on a project with Hallmark. Like, we're just so excited. Okay, first off, was this a project that Hallmark came to you about, or was it like not even a Hallmark project at first? Because we know, like speaking with like Will Rubio and some other folks that have been involved in these, sometimes it starts out not Hallmark, but then Hallmark comes in and does it. So what was the situation with this one?
So it did start out not a Hallmark project.
Okay.
But by the time I came along, it was.
Okay.
So they had just Monique Matthews, the writer of the script, wrote a beautiful story about her going back to visit her home in Harlem. And she gave it to a producer who was shopping it around to a couple of places and had some ideas. And then Hallmark jumped on it and loved it and said that they wanted to be both the studio and the network for it. So, and then they reached out to me and asked me to be to direct it. And so by the time I was involved, Hallmark was already in the process with them.
Did you have any familiarity with Hallmark at that point, Keith? Like,
no.
Yeah.
No.
My wife did. So how it all came about was that there's an executive at Hallmark named Ethan Wolf, who is an old friend of my wife. My wife's. They went to high school together, and he just started at Hallmark, and thought of me for this project because he knew that I actually spent a lot of Christmases in Harlem, I have family who live in Harlem right now.
I was going to ask if you or your wife was from there, but it's mostly family. Are they still there?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you get to still Christmas in Harlem.
Yeah, exactly. We were actually about to do Christmas in Harlem this year, but anyway, so he thought of me for this project and mentioned me to the team that was working on the project. And so I met with them and they said, great. My wife is a gigantic Hallmark fan.
That's great.
I had not really seen many Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
So when I interviewed for the movie, my wife basically threatened divorce if I didn't take it.
Did she give you like a cram session? Like, all right, here's everything you need to know.
Honestly, I approach projects based upon what personally excites me and makes me happy to be a part of it. And I didn't really want to know about the history of what Hallmark has done before, because we're making something that should be organic and feel good and feel like it's part of it. Obviously, throughout the process, I was informed of what were hallmarks. And they were actually very beneficial and very helpful. But I kind of put the project together because based upon my
I know that a Hallmark film, there's a very truncated amount of time in which you can produce that film because they're made and they're coming out. And I was just wondering, how does that relate to past work that you've done?
It was a faster process than what I've done before as a director, but not that much faster. It didn't feel crazy. We should have had 20 days really to shoot it. Like normally on a TV show project for an episode or for a show of this length, we would have maybe 20 days to shoot it, and where we only had 15 days to shoot it. I had only 2 weeks to prep, which is a short time to prep. Normally I'd have maybe 3 weeks to prep. But honestly, it didn't feel like I was pressured or like we were running and gunning. I felt like we were able to do all of our scenes the way that we were supposed to, and not feel rushed to make it. So somehow they figured out some sort of rhythm to in terms of maybe in the writing that allows you to shoot all of those pages in 15 days. And it felt like I was making an actual movie, so it was good. It was fine.
That's awesome.
And the post-production process was super fast. Super fast. Way faster than I've ever experienced. By double. Like it was like half the amount of time that I existed in post before.
Wow. Okay. Is any of it shot in Harlem, or is any B-roll shot in Harlem that you use? Is the whole thing shot in Harlem? Like, what was the shooting like?
No, we shot, the majority of the movie is shot in Hartford, Connecticut. Because
that's a Hallmark staple.
Gotta get that small town, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Taxes, absolutely.
But it works. It actually really worked, because there is a street in Hartford that they've that the architect who built a bunch of brownstones in Harlem came back in like the 20s or the 30s and built a street in Hartford that looks exactly like it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So there, and then I fought for 1 day to shoot in Harlem. So we did go down to Harlem. We did shoot some exterior scenes, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. Because I believe that we so seamlessly weaved that street in Hartford with Harlem that it all feels of a piece.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, the writer, Monique, had you ever worked with them before, or was this something? Oh, okay.
No, this was my first time meeting her.
Did you get to speak with her sort of about her story, and then you having it translated into the joy you found from her story? How was that process?
Yeah, no, at the very beginning, we were blessed to have Monique on set throughout.
Cool.
That's great. Time, which is a rare for a Hallmark movie, but I found really helped because Monique's was basically like the cheerleader of the film, right? Monique and I began talking just about casting and where she derived inspiration from for all the moments. And there, I believe it was the weekend right before we started shooting, Monique and I sat down for like 4.5 hours and went through the whole script. And we were able to talk through all of what her motivations were for writing, particular characters and particular plot points and stories and things like that. And so I really wanted to make sure that authenticity was important for me, and that this felt like an authentically Harlem story. And of course, because Monique was born and raised in Harlem, I mean, she was a great font of information for that.
I think to go back on what you said earlier, which I think is just wonderful, is sure, Hallmark has tropes, but I think that was in the past. And I like the growth that a lot of these movies, and that the movies that your wife is watching, of course, and not you, is that there's just like a really nice change in sort of like storytelling, who's telling the stories, who's showcasing the stories. Yeah. And I think that like, it's nice to see that. And they're actually like not just as predictable as they used to be.
What I said, by the way, my wife is in the movie. She has a big part in the movie too.
I would freak out if my husband got to make movies and was like, "Oh, I'm going to put you in a Hallmark movie."
My like we dropped everything. I think it was a money loss for us because of childcare, but
I bet. Yep.
But she has a very big part in the movie too, so you'll be able to.
That's so exciting.
But wait, in answer to your question, wait, what was your question? Sorry.
More just speaking towards like the appreciation of like that it's really nice to know the directors and writers are going into this as I want to tell this story. It happens to be on Hallmark.
Yeah.
Right.
So for I don't know what the statistics are for Hallmark movies. I know that it was very important for me that every single speaking role in this film was a person of color.
It's awesome.
And there is one character who plays a nurse, and she has one line. She was actually our second AD, and she's like, "I have my SAG card. Can I come in? Can I?" Yeah, she's adorable. We loved her so much. Who is it's weird to say white presenting, but she is also a person of color. And I said to her, I have this mandate.
Yeah.
She's like, well, my mother's actually Black. So and so it was very important to me that what I had seen when I had done research on Hallmark movies in the past was that it was scripts that were clearly written for white characters.
Yeah.
That they just then put Black characters in.
Right.
In a way that felt whitewashing. And so it was very important to me that the writer of this story was a Black woman, and that it was written for Black people in a place that is predominantly Black, and that I had made sure that the entire cast was either Black or Latinx.
Yes,
of Spanish Harlem.
Excellent.
What about the crew too, Keith? Because that's one of the things we have seen a little bit more of in Hallmark is what we see on camera is more diverse, but are you seeing that behind the camera as well?
I wish it were better.
Yeah.
I wish it were better. I will tell you that in the past 3 or 4 years of me working in television and film, there is an increased amount of diversity that is happening.
Okay.
But I do believe that we could do better.
Yeah.
And on this project, I wanted certain departments to be of color, like specifically the hair and makeup department.
Yes.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Because I work at a theater here in Philadelphia, and that's just been an issue of having wardrobe and hair and makeup for people that, it's just, and it's lovely to see that that's finally being supported and being uplifted. Yeah.
And it was very important, and it got down to the wire, and I was just like, I'm not budging. Our costume designer was of color. So like I've started seeing I'm starting to see the shift, but we can do better.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I do want to ask this because I know on Facebook you had posted some pictures. You blacked out things you couldn't show. Obviously, is that a Hallmark thing? Like, is this like Marvel where Hallmark's like you can't talk about
That's
certain
a cover
things?
your ass thing. No,
Yeah.
that was a cover your ass thing. I have been so many jobs that I've done where I signed non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah.
That's now just my default.
That's
Mhm.
smart.
But Hallmark never said anything about it, and
Okay.
the actors didn't mind. But I just wanted to make sure that I didn't reveal who was in it until Hallmark felt like it was time to reveal who was in it.
That makes sense.
I think it's really cool to see, like, I looked up the main actress and actor, and they've never done a Hallmark, but it looks like that Will Adams really, this is something new for him. He's just starting.
I am very proud to report that every single person that is in this movie are people that I've been a fan of, have known for years, or are literally I'm related to.
You can still be a fan of them if you're related. Important to point out.
But every single person in this movie, every single person, Hallmark gave me complete artistic freedom.
That's awesome.
Who I wanted. And I've never experienced that before in my life. So Olivia Washington is somebody that I've known for years. I went to Hallmark and I said, she is the perfect person for this. She is we must have her.
Yeah.
I don't think it hurt that she's Denzel Washington's daughter, but
I
very much made it a point to never to make sure that she knew that was not the reason she was hired.
Sure, absolutely.
She is a brilliant actress all on her own. I've seen her work. She is so wonderful and lovely and humble and down to earth, and so I insisted on Olivia. And then there was one night in production while they were negotiating Olivia's contract.
Okay.
So they wanted to find, Olivia's character first before they would go to find the Caleb, which is,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So they wanted to lock in Jasmine first. That's the name of the character.
Yeah.
Before Caleb. And so while they were negotiating with Olivia, and it looked like she was going to do it, I had a dream in pre-production where I saw the movie, and the movie starred Will Adams. And Will is somebody who had just graduated from grad school. My wife knew him. I directed him in a reading of a play. He only has one other credit on film before. But I dreamt him in the part. Like randomly he came to mind, and I became convinced that there was no one else who was going to play it. And I made sure I called Will the next day and I said, we haven't even I don't think Will knows that he's the only person who auditioned for it, because we hadn't even brought sides or the scripts that read. We hadn't even put those together. So I pulled some scripts, some scenes from the script, and I said, put yourself on tape right this minute. He did. He was brilliant. I sent it over to Hallmark. I said, you don't have to look. We don't even have to worry about looking for Caleb. This is who it is. And Hallmark agreed.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If they're going to hire a director, they need to let them direct and create this. You know what I mean? Like,
you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't know if they'll ever let me do that again on Hallmark. I just think that this particular project was so personal and so organic and lovely that all of these people that we cast in it are perfect. Such perfect casting because I was able to position them and sell them in a way that it all just, thank God, happened
Right.
like this.
There's always there's a woman here in Philly that always says, whoever shows up is meant to be there, or whoever's in the room is meant to be there. And it's
My grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to say, "What's yours will know your face."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea, right?
Yeah. So I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know how busy you are, but do you have any upcoming things that you're able to talk about or not able
that
to
you
talk
might
about?
slip and tell us anything?
There are 2 projects that I've done that I'm able to talk about.
Yeah.
There's about 4 that I'm not, but there's 2 that I'm able to talk about.
Yeah.
Actually, a week from today, on Friday, November 19th,
Okay.
my episode of Dickinson drops on Apple TV Plus. So Dickinson is this brilliant show about Emily Dickinson, but it's all done in modern vernacular. So it's very like hip and modern and fun, but everyone's wearing corsets and gigantic dresses and things. And it's a beautiful, beautiful show written by my friend Elena Smith. And Elena asked me to direct the 5th episode of the season.
Awesome.
I don't want to reveal anything, but there might be a lot of singing in it.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
I'm in. Sold.
And some singing from some platinum selling pop stars.
Okay.
So that premieres episode 305 of Dickinson premieres on November 19th. I am super, super, super proud of it.
That's
awesome. It's just such a beautiful show, and I'm very proud of the episode that I've done for it. And then in the new year, there's going to be a show on Freeform called Single Drunk Female. And I directed the 7th episode of the season, of its first season.
Oh, great.
And it's such a smart show.
Mm-hmm.
It's about sobriety. It's about a woman going through AA, and but it's so smart and funny and has tremendous heart to it that I'm just so excited for the world to see.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on all the 2 we could hear about and the 4 we weren't allowed to.
I know. Now we're going to have our eyes focused on IMDb for the next year. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, Keith, thank you so much, man. Thank you for taking the time. We really, really do appreciate it. I hope this is the highest rated Hallmark film.
Me too. That's what I said to them.
Let's do it.
Yep.
I emailed the Hallmark executives. I had the best time with the executives that were working on this project. They are just the most lovely people. I'd love to work with them again. And I emailed them and I was like, this will be your best Hallmark movie ever. Because they make 90 something a year.
Oh, we know. We watch them all. We watch them all, Keith.
Sometimes against our will.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is your best one yet. They did write me back and say, and told me it was their favorite cast.
That's great. That's so great.
That's amazing. Well, listen, I would be the worst self-promoter if I didn't say that if you make another Hallmark one, I'm a very good crotchety neighbor, or like.
That's right. Chris has been doing improv forever, but she also can do scripted work. So
I love it.
It's like my dream role is just a cranky neighbor or like the baker owner who doesn't want Christmas in the town anymore.
Keep in mind, we should do Christmas in Philly. We should.
Yes. Oh man.
Now we're going to bother you every single month and we ask where that project's at. So.
Exactly.
Again, Keith, thank you so much. I want to plug for you, Keith, because In White Places is an amazing short that you did. It's gorgeous, man. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. So if you're watching this, please go see that, and we'll actually link to all of Keith's work as well.
That's so nice. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super proud of putting that little thing together.
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, enjoy your holiday season.
Same to you.
And we're so excited to watch Holiday in Harlem this weekend. We're so excited.
All right. Take care.
Good luck with the house too.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
And you can email us here at Remark. You can email us at remarktheshow@gmail.com. Tell us your thoughts on all of the Hallmark films or Marvel films. This is a good place for us to tell you that starting on November 25th, soon, we are going to be releasing our Hawkeye series, Disney Plus's series, Hawkeye. If you watched us do Loki, we're doing it to Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. I'm excited, Kev. And just to plug kindness, again, I honestly know how busy Keith was. And just to talk to us was such a thrill. Like, I just love hearing the process of these movies so much.
Absolutely.
And
It's all the work that goes into it, how quickly they have to turn things around, all the decisions have to be made, like snap decisions. And then for the man to be able to rest, but we still bother him and say, hey, come to our show. So I do it also. I appreciate his time.
It's the coolest. So thank you, Keith. And thank you to his lovely wife for talking him into, or not talking him into, but basically forcing him to do a Hallmark movie.
I don't know about that.
No,
I also want to thank my good friend Lou Indolini, who set this up for us. So I really appreciate that, Lou.
Woo! Remark!